So welcome to the Mentor Show. I'm your host, Dr. Olushola Ajide on the Mentor Show. How has your day been? You're too faithful to fail me. Too faithful to fail me. Welcome for those of you joining us on YouTube. Welcome on Facebook. Welcome on LinkedIn. Tell us where you are joining us from. Tell us where you are joining us from tonight as we go on the Mentor Show tonight. Again, we are having Mapping Africa's Natural Resources. Yeah. So today we are looking at mapping Africa's natural resources. Intro, and we are looking at one of the nations on the continent of Africa. All right, so welcome to the Mentor Show Road Trip Intro.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go. Hello, welcome. I'm Dr. Olushola Ajide, your host on the Mentors Show, where we inspire you, help you reinvent yourself, and make a positive impact in your community, in your country, and on your continent. We mentor people across Africa. We bring you guests with inspiring life stories who are themselves transformation agents, making a positive change in their profession and nations. Subscribe to the African Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yes, welcome to the Mentors Show. I'm your host, Dr. Olushola Ajide, and you know how it is on this show. The Mentor Show is where we inspire you. The Mentor Show is where we help you, give you ideas to reinvent yourself. The Mentor Show is what will bring you tips, uh, information that will help you to become a better version of yourself. If you like to use that terminology, that helps you to make a positive impact in your community, in your country, and also on the continent where you dwell. And welcome. So it's another great opportunity to come your way again today. Great, great, great. So we dive deep into it. Now, on the Mentor Show, we do normally have guests who come onto the show to share with us, to inspire us. Guests who are, if you like to use a terminology, trailblazers, people who are making transformative changes, even in their various spheres and across the world. And on the days where we don't have guests come on the show, is when we do this mapping Africa's natural resources, where we are able to do, I would call this not always a deep dive, but at least just to bring some information to your knowledge about the countries in or the countries on the continent of Africa, and for you to look at them again, for you to consider these countries again, for you to look at the challenges that exist in all these countries and to see that these challenges are actually opportunities for you. And that is why we keep coming your way on these days where we have mapping Africa's natural resources. We are mapping, we are looking at, we are considering the natural resources that are available on the continent of Africa that will be possibly an opportunity for you, a place for investment, or a place for you to bring a change, to use your skill, your knowledge to bring transformational change to these nations on the continent. And why do we do this? Because without the young people, without the young people on the continent of Africa arising to the responsibility, there's no help coming from anywhere. And so it's for you, like I do ask on this show, have you discovered the reason, the purpose why you were born? It is that when you discover the purpose why you were born, you will be able to help solve the problem or some of the problems that are available on the continent of Africa, because you were born for a particular reason. You were born for a particular purpose, and it's important for you and I to discover. While I have discovered, we are still on the journey of self-discovery, it is important for you to be able to recognize the critical need or the critical purpose of why you are existing on earth. This is extremely important because without discovering the purpose why you are existing, there would never be self-satisfaction. There would never be self-satisfaction. There would never be a time where you will say, oh, I have everything sorted. I know why I was born, and I am fulfilling the purpose of why I was born. Welcome, data overflow. So have you discovered the purpose why you were born? That's the premise and the question I normally ask on these days where we don't have guests on the Mentor Show, because you were born to solve a particular problem. And as we look at the nations on the continent of Africa, perhaps you were born to solve some of the problems that we might, or the challenges, if you like to use the word challenges, some of the challenges, you were born to solve some of those challenges that is existing on the continent of Africa. So that's what we are looking at today. Looking at the continent of Africa. And like you know, on these days, good evening, madam, how are you? Yeah. It's nice having you. Mrs. Akisu, Dr. Akisu is one of our guests on the Mentor Show. But tonight we are having Mapping Africa's Natural Resources, looking at the natural resources available on the continent of Africa and how that could translate to development when you discover the purpose of why you were born and you step to the plate to ensure that that problem is tackled and is solved for the continent. So we are looking at Nation 34 today. Nation 34. Don't forget that we started many years ago now looking from Nation 1. We started with Algeria. We went all to Angola, Benin Republic, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Central African Republic. We've looked at Chad, we've looked at Comoros, we've looked at Congo, we've looked at Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, we've looked at Democratic Republic of the Congo, we've looked at Djibouti, we've looked at Egypt, we've looked at Equatorial Guinea, we've looked at Eritrea, we've looked at Ethiopia, and we looked at Gabon. Gabon is the 20th nation we considered, and we looked at Gambia, and then we looked at Ghana. In fact, if you want to know, the date we looked at Ghana was the 16th of August 2022. That was when I looked at Ghana, 16th of August 2022. So you could see we've been coming on this quite a long journey. We've looked at Guinea. We looked at Guinea on the 6th of September 2022. We've looked at Guinea-Bissau. Also, Guinea-Bissau, we looked at Guinea-Bissau on the 28th of March of 2023. Now we've looked at Kenya. We saw Kenya on the 29th of August 2023. We've looked at Lesotho. We've looked at Liberia. We've looked at Libya. We looked at Libya on the 26th of September 2023. We've looked at Madagascar, and that we considered Madagascar on the 3rd of October 2023. So I'm giving you these dates in case you want to go back on my timeline to search. You can use the dates to appropriately locate and search out some of these dates. So we've looked at Madagascar, Malawi, Mali, Mauritania. On the 30th of January 2024 was Mauritania, and we've looked at Mauritius, which was last week on the 2nd of April 2024, and today, drum roll, we're looking at Morocco, which is the 9th of April 2024. Welcome, Necheng Kele. Welcome to the Mentor Show. Today we are mapping Africa's natural resources. So I'm looking at Nation 34. Now we're looking at Morocco. So let's just go into it. Morocco is known officially as the Kingdom of Morocco, and is a country in the Maghreb region of North Africa. It overlooks the Mediterranean Sea to the north and the Atlantic Ocean to the west, and has land borders with Algeria to the east and the disputed territory of Western Sahara to the south. Morocco also claims the Spanish enclave of Ceuta, Melilla, and Perion de Velez de Velagomera. and several small Spanish-controlled islands off the coast of Morocco. It's in control of some of these places. Now, Morocco uh, officially has a population of roughly 37 million, and the predominant religion in Morocco is Islam. Now, when it comes to the flag of this nation, the flag is just maroon red, everything maroon red, but with a star, color green star at the center of that the maroon color, which signifies the flags of, and you can see that even on the poster which I put out today. So the capital of Morocco is Rabat, while the largest city of Morocco is Casablanca. Now, the official language of Morocco is Arabic and the Tamazighit. The spoken language in Morocco is Moroccan Arabic, is the Hassaniya Arabic, and the Berber languages. Of course, there are foreign languages in Morocco because Morocco has had incursion and with the French. There's French, and there's English, and there's Spanish spoken even in this country. Now, when it comes to the ethnic division or ethnic demography, we have Arabs as 67%, the Berbers at 31%, and of course the Sahrawis. The Sahrawis, which are 2%. When it comes to religion, I mentioned earlier, 99.6% are Islam, of which 99.23% are Sunnis and 0.45% are Shia. Other religion, we have agnostics, we have the Baha'is, we have the Christians, 0.09%, and the Jews, 0.01%. So when it comes to the government, they have a unitary parliamentary nation, and they have a king, Mohammed VI. They also have a prime minister, Aziz Akanouch, is the prime minister of this nation. Like I mentioned earlier, you will see that the population is 37 million people who are living. When it comes to the GDP of this nation, its total of is 385.337 billion is the GDP of this particular nation. Now, the currency is the Moroccan dirham. The currency is the Moroccan dirham. So I mentioned earlier about the incursion of the French and Spain and of course the Portuguese also around this particular country, the Morocco. Good evening, Big BBT. Welcome to the Mentor Show. So in 1904, France and Spain, they carved out zones of influence in Morocco, recognition, and this led to that kind of ajibaji because of the recognition by England of some of these things, and that led to also the German also having crisis around 1905. So you could see that this particular nation has, been under the control of France. The Spanish and the France have been, exchanging, but in March 1956, Morocco regained its independence from France, as a Kingdom of Morocco. So post-independence, now the nation, began to grow, and of course, all the challenges that the nation went through. Now, what's the kind of life when it comes to Morocco today? When it comes to Morocco today, first, before we look at the kind of life, don't forget we are looking at mapping Africa's natural resources. What are the resources available in Morocco, which are natural resources for this particular nation? The mining industry stands out as one of the natural great ways for the economy of this particular nation of Morocco. Let me specifically so this particular nation, the nation of Morocco, has gone through quite a lot. And Morocco holds 75% of the phosphate reserves of the world. 75% of the phosphate reserves in the world, and is ranked third in the world when it comes to the production of phosphate. Other minerals extracted from this nation includes barite, clay, cobalt, copper, fluorspar, iron ore, lead, salt, silver, talc, and zinc. These are some raw materials that are available in this nation. So phosphate is the key thing that the nation depend upon. Also, okay, now that's so also the nation is known for processing food, processing of leather goods, processing of textiles, and selling of art and crafts. Construction and tourism is also very popular when it comes to the nation of Morocco. These are popular things when it comes to this particular nation of Morocco. So I mentioned earlier, because of the phosphate, mining is a critical thing. Of course, I'm even concerned about anywhere there is mining, because I'm a sustainability researcher. Anywhere there is mining, I'm concerned about the issue of the engagement, stakeholder engagement. I'm concerned about the issue of the environment. How do they and what do they turn the environment into? Because when you mine, you are not actually replenishing or adding anything. You are taking out of the ground. So what are the things, and how do they maintain the environment even in that particular? Okay. Interestingly, when it comes to natural resources in Morocco, there are also manganese, gold, silver. I've mentioned cobalt, cobalt, tin, titanium, tungsten also is available in Morocco. Quite a lot of resources are available in this particular nation. And like I mentioned, in other nations that we have looked at, the natural resources are to make life better for indigenes of the nation, to make sure that indigenes have access to basic amenities of life. So this is also of extreme importance for to consider and to mention that all these materials are for the development of the nation. Now, when it comes to literacy rate in this country, literacy rate in Morocco is quite is 75%. Literacy rate is 75.93%. In Morocco is 79.93%, which is higher compared to Egypt, which is 73.09%, or Angola, which is 72.28%. So quite a lot of work has been done when it comes to the issue of literacy. And I guess as much, like literacy is the ability to read and write, whatever the language, not necessarily mean English, but at least the ability of someone in a particular nation to be able to read, to be able to comprehend, to be able to write, and to be able to to commune and have that conversation with you. So literacy is that 75%. Now, when it comes to the health sector of this particular nation, Morocco became an independence in 1956, and at that time there were only 400 private practitioners and 300 public health physicians in the country. But by 1992, the government had thoroughly improved their healthcare system, service and quality, and has made available to cover over 70%. That's good, impressive, of the population as at 1992. So that's a good development for the nation. Now, what are some of the diseases that are available in this country? Now, even though the country has made a lot of strides to reducing some of these diseases, so we still have issues of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, cancer are still the topmost that is affecting the length of life for people in Morocco. Also is the aspect of obesity. Obesity is also a challenge even in Morocco for people to live is quite a challenge. Adolescent girls are of a greater risk of becoming obese. So you see that kind of challenge, in the country. So when it comes to the issue of maternal and child health care, also, this has improved significantly. Over the past 10 years, with maternal mortality ratio dropping from 227 deaths per 100,000 live births to 112, and the infant mortality declining from 40 deaths per 1,000 live births to 30.2. So there is not too significant, but step in the right direction, one will say. Steps in the right direction. Okay. So the point you are making in when we talk about the healthcare, even though we think that things are moving fine, there's still room for improvement. There's still room for opportunity. So are you a medical doctor? There's still room for you to start a private hospital in Morocco and still be able to thrive, because that's the essence of this show, that wherever there's challenges, it's people, yourself and myself, that God will use to bring about such changes in that particular nation. And so it's more for you and I, wherever nation, if we are not even from Morocco, like I keep saying, you can say, no, I'm not from Morocco, but I can be concerned about the maternal mortality in my country of Congo, in my country of Rwanda, in my country of Tanzania. You can be concerned to see how you can bring positive change even to the nation where you are from. Good. Now, when it comes to, I've mentioned earlier about the agriculture of this nation, of what is in the offering of I mentioned earlier about the industry that the nation of Morocco subscribe to and what they are doing. So they are also, pursuing various projects, African Development Fund project and others to try and ensure that the economy is robust. And so the nation is doing everything possible. But like I mentioned, there are still opportunities. No matter how good the literacy rate, the health rate of the nation is, there is still room for improvement. There is still room for improvement. So when it comes to agriculture in Morocco employs about 40% of the workforce. That's massive. 40% of the workforce are into agriculture. Thus is the largest employer in the country by the many sections of the, that it has. So agriculture is one of the critical way or employer of labor. If it's 40% is huge. On the Atlantic coast, where there are extensive plains, olives, citrus fruits, and wine grapes are grown largely with water supplied by artesian wells. Livestock are raised and the basis and yield work. Livestock are raised and forests yield cork, cabinet wood, and building materials. Part of the maritime population fishes for its livelihood. Agada, Essaouira, El Jadida, and Larache are among the important fishing harbors. Both the agriculture and fishing product industries are expected to be severely impacted by the climate change. That's another challenge facing a lot of business in Africa, the impact of climate change, which is very real, very, very real. So when it comes to production, as at 2018, Morocco produced 7.3 million of wheat as the 20th largest producer in the world. It's 3.7 million tons of sugar, beet, which is used to produce sugar and ethanol. Okay, 1.8 million tons of potato, 1.5 million tons of olive, third largest producer in the world. behind Spain and Italy. 1.4 millions of tomato, because this nation is the 15th in the world. 1.2 millions of tangerine, because they are the fourth largest producer in the world behind China, Spain, and Turkey. So you will see that this nation is actually doing some good work of utilizing or getting using agriculture. So, and the list goes on: orange, onion, watermelon, apple, sugarcane, carrot, grapes, banana, chili pepper, and fig. So the point is, if in the nation where you are, these things are not there, you can also step to the plate. Agriculture is an opportunity for you to start a farm and do something that will help, alleviate part of the problem that these nations are facing. Now, the nation of Morocco has very little oil. It's a nation that there is a net importer of oil and gas. They have very little, but they are still working. They work on it. They still import quite a significant amount of what that they use. So this particular nation also exports some things, In 2022, Morocco was the number 59 economy in the world in terms of GDP, which is the number of 63 in total export, and the number 52 in total export for the number 127 economy in terms of economic per capita, current US dollars, and number of 76 most complex economy among to the Economic Complexity Index, ECI. When it comes to export, the top exports of Morocco are mixed minerals or chemical fertilizers. So, chemical fertilizers 7.06%, cars 6.1 billion percent, insulated wire 5.21 billion, phosphate and phosphoric acid and calcium phosphate, 1.8 billion pounds, exporting mostly to Spain, France, and India. Those are the main source of export. Spain, France, and India. Those are the main export that the country do to. Now, when it comes to importation, I mentioned earlier they import oil and gas. Also, they do import refined petroleum. Yeah, they also, which is $8.598 billion. They import wheat, 2.32 billion. Petroleum. Can you now, if you talk about the example of wheat, can you, as a citizen of Morocco, produce wheat? Or you can produce in your country and export to Morocco, and so Morocco import your product. So these are things that you can. These are opportunities that we are, and that's why we come on this show, to educate, to inform, and also to make you to know about these opportunities that are out there for you. Coal briquette 2.07 billion, and cars 1.98 billion. Importing mainly from Spain, France, China, and Saudi Arabia. All right. So it's we're winding down. We are looking at mapping Africa's natural resources, and we're looking at Spain today. Last week was Mauritius. So we're looking at all the things that this nation is doing, and also the opportunities are there. Because young people, like I keep saying on this show, young people are the ones that need to come up with new inventions, new ideas, things that will bring about development for the continent and for any nation. More, if you need to look at any nation whatsoever, it is the responsibility of the young people to come up with fresh ideas, with fresh products, and fresh things that could be used for the continent of. And on this show, we've interviewed young people doing great things, like the young man from Nigeria, Benny Cars, who is producing cars, agricultural infrastructure, who is producing agricultural machines and everything like that. We need more of such visionaries, such innovators. We need more of such manufacturers on the continent for us to be able to achieve the God-given plan and goal for the nation as it should be. All right. Good evening, official Kim Lana. Welcome to the Mentor Show. We are looking at mapping Africa's natural resources. Looking at Morocco today. We are looking at Morocco. Oh, I did mention earlier that I hope I mentioned the life expectancy in Morocco is 77.63% in 2024, which has been improved by 0.26%. So it means Morocco is doing something when it comes to the health sector. However, there's still opportunity and room for more. So if you are a health expert, there's opportunity for you in the Moroccan industry. And if you say, oh, I'm not in Morocco, yeah, which nation are you from on the continent of Africa? There's opportunity in that nation's health sector, and you can step in there to provide those services that are required in the nation. Now, when it comes to, like I keep mentioning that, Africa is a young continent. Africa is a young continent. When it comes to the population in the nation, on the continent rather, is still young. Less than more. Those under 25% are more than almost 60% of the continent. So it's the continent with the future, with the new frontiers. And that's why we need to begin to look at all the opportunities and see where God has given you the privilege or opportunity to look into these areas and then come up with solutions to all the health problems, to malaria or sicknesses or diseases or agricultural product or agricultural or plants that can withstand. Now, drought is a critical thing on the continent. There's a need for adaptability on the continent of Africa, and we need people, either young or old, who will come up with new ways of helping us. Lala Pop 2000. I hope it's the person I'm thinking about. How are you, my sister? Welcome to the Mentor Show. Welcome to the Mentor Show. All right, that is us done today, looking at mapping Africa's natural resources, looking at Morocco. We've been able to look at that there are a lot of opportunities. While the story in Morocco might be a little bit better than some nations, there are still opportunities. There are still opportunities for development and for getting things better. So thank you so much for those of you watching on Facebook, for those of you on LinkedIn, those of you on YouTube, thank you for your time on the Mentors Show. We'll see you again next week, Tuesday, by the grace of God, when we come your way. Probably we're going to have a guest next week. And so we'll see you, God willing, next week, Tuesday. Bye. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and bye.